Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley, and how are you today? Hope you had a good holiday weekend. I had a nice one, and it was busy around when I was out and about, but it wasn't crazy, so that's good. Again, I just say to everybody who might be viewing this and planning a trip north this summer, come on, we love you. We want you to come and enjoy. But just remember, I've seen signs at a lot of businesses that say, please excuse our slowness. We've got, few workers and lots of people coming in. So the worker shortage is real, and let's just keep that in mind if you do, wherever you go. But if you come north and there's lots of people, just realize it might be a little longer wait to get into that place you want to eat. You might even want to check to see if they're taking reservations. And just be prepared. All right. But so far, I'm hearing some good things. Nothing terrible. I think everybody is being patient and understanding. So that's good. That is really good. I was just reading an article today about how our cherry crop really got hit this spring. It got warm, then it got cold, then it got dry, and then it rained. So our tart cherry crop is pretty much beat up. And that's not good. So just some of the news out of the north. Moving on to other headlines and things today. Since last week, of course, I should mention Joe Biden came to northern Michigan. I know there's a lot of people who don't like Joe Biden. I'm not particularly a fan of the guy, but he is the president, and he was here. And I actually was in traffic, got stopped by the motorcade, and not particularly, as I said, not particularly a fan of the occupant. But when that presidential limousine went by, the Beast is a pretty cool vehicle. So that was kind of fun to see. I'd never seen the limo or limos because there were both of them there. So there you go. He was in the north, went to a cherry orchard and then King's Orchard, I believe it was. In Antrim County, and then on to Moomer's Ice Cream. So, he hit the hot spots. All right, something that the governor is set up. I think it's kind of a dumb idea, but nobody's twisting anybody's arms. But they've had like 500,000 people sign up. The Vaccination Sweepstakes. If you sign up in this program to get vaccinated and get at least one shot, you're registered for some daily prizes and a grand prize or whatever. And if you're a younger person, you can get a scholarship money. They're using federal COVID dollars. Don't know how it all works. Again, I think it's kind of ridiculous that they're doing it. But like I said, 500,000 plus have signed up for it. So that's just passing it along. Also in the news yesterday, I thought it was interesting. The former Detroit Police Chief James Craig spoke for the first time publicly. He was at the Republican birthday party in Jackson County. The Republican Party, if you didn't know, was begun, I think 164 years ago in a park in Jackson. And every year they go back and have a birthday party there. They remember the park, and I don't know if the tree is still standing, but they did. Anyway, he spoke. So, of course, a lot of speculation that he's going to run for governor. Hasn't said anything yet, but we'll see. Other things I'm reading, distracted driving bills. These have been kind of controversial. They did not move here since before the break, but they're expected to be back in the fall. They're very controversial because part of the question is, how do you enforce it? So right now, the way it works is, if you can't text and drive, you can't be on a phone and drive, right? But you can be on Facebook. You can be doing other things. So if a policeman stops you, well, you say, well, I was on Facebook. I wasn't texting. The wording of the law was very specific there. So now that this, and again, I'm generalizing, I don't have the bill in front of me, but basically it says you can't be on your device. One of the issues, though, is it's all got to be hands-free. So in essence, you can't be on your phone, if this was my phone, and hold it like this on the speaker while I'm driving. That would be illegal. And then there's other considerations that, how do you enforce this? Do they just pull you over and throw it in? So it's a very narrow vote. A lot of people for it, a lot of people against it. So debate is still rages, but that one's out there, and we'll see what happens in the fall. And right now, by the way, I'm for the distracted drivers bill. All right, I'm for it. One of the reasons is because of the situation of people potentially distracted going through construction and work zones. I know that's a problem, and it worries me a little bit. So right now, I'm a shaky yes, because I do understand all the issues with the distracted driving situation. I know where we have distracted driving. Don't be tone deaf here and not hear what I said. But I don't know if the way this bill is written is the perfect solution. But I don't know if there's anything perfect. So I'll have to kind of make up my mind officially if and when that bill actually gets presented. But right now, I'm a yes. Short-term rentals. That's a big decision. That one got scuttled on the last day, might come back. Hopefully, we've got some work groups. That's pitting basically the realtors associations against townships and municipalities. And short-term rentals, as you know, Airbnbs and that sort of thing, have become a big issue. And they say property rights versus community rights. And right now, I am a no on this bill, but I'm working to try and find that compromise. I'm a no on this bill because I am all for property rights. I get it. This is a very complicated issue, but I also believe that, especially in our smaller communities, a bigger town can absorb more short-term rentals. But what's happened is that summer rental and that lakeshore cottage from 100, 150 years ago, now, because of the internet, has created a situation where people want to rent out their homes. Again, I don't have a problem with that. The problem now comes is, what about noise? What about a neighborhood, say a block of, 30 homes? What if half of them become short-term rentals? What happens to the fabric of the community? So again, this is one of those things where you've got to try and balance. Now, some communities have banned them, said, no, we don't want them. Well, now, is that fair to the property rights owner? Probably not. But yet, on the other hand, we do have community standards. We do have things. So I'm trying to find that situation that says, oh, now, wait a minute here. I want to respect your property rights, but I also have to respect the community rights. So that's why I hope we can talk and work on a compromise this summer. Everybody's going to have to give a little bit. I think there's a path to do that because I see the value short-term rentals, and I see the value in our small communities. And I would argue, and I have, that the 101st from Northport to Ludington, we could become the victims of our own success. And we've got to be very careful with that. So I think we have to move smartly. Let's see here. Oh, this is another one that's kind of important to, I think, the entire state, but especially my northwest region. The MDARD and all those guys, health department now saying agriculture employees no longer have to get tested for COVID. If you remember last summer, actually, that became a big issue because just as our ag, crop and harvest started to kick in, the health department said, oh, no, you can't work unless you've gotten a COVID test. Well, that takes time. It was a mess. If they'd have told our growers and our farmers, a few weeks ahead of time, they'd have been able to plan. But anyway, no more testing as we head into the harvest here beginning in August. Which, by the way, the state is no longer doing daily COVID updates. They're going to Tuesdays and Fridays. And over the holiday weekend, we were averaging 107 cases of the COVID, 21 deaths reported over the weekend. And that brings me to the last point. I talked about it last week, but I think it needs to start sinking in because COVID has been such a fear-based thing for the last 15 months. We need to start thinking of COVID as an ordinary disease of life or an ordinary illness of life. It's here. It ain't going anywhere, but there are variants. And I think there's a new one. They're calling them the Lambda. And I'm reading this, a new variant has struck, whatever country it is. I'm reading the headline, and the verbiage is like death and destruction. Well, it turns out that this Lambda, if that was the name of it, isn't a variant. It's very contagious, but they've had 0 deaths. They don't anticipate it being any deadlier than anything else. And then we've got our Delta variant, I think is what it's called here. Again, yes, people are going to get sick, but is it that COVID, the plague? No. Where we're at is variations, and we're going to have to be prepared for that. And people need to not be fearful, right? I've been saying that forever. And when we think of these things as an ordinary illness of life, I go back to influenza. Every fall, I get my flu shot because I'm a little older. I get my flu shot. And every year, that flu shot is made up of different components. Why? Because the influenza virus has variants. And those variants need a little tweak. And sometimes the pharmaceutical companies get that variant wrong, and the flu shot isn't as effective as maybe it is usually. Point being is, the flu shot is for variants, and that may be where we're at with the COVID bug down the road. So just as you read and hear about these variants, pay attention, read on. I'm not telling you not to. But what I'm saying is, don't be fearful when you see these headlines, because remember, there's an old adage in the media, if it bleeds, it leads. And what that means, of course, is people are following, the flashing lights. And for some reason, that's just the way we are. We're like mosquitoes to a light bulb. What's this terrible thing that's happened? So sometimes things are presented in a more dramatic way than they need to be. So just remember that when you're viewing the news and reading the headlines, all right? Okay, I'm out of here till next week. I hope you have a good week. Stay safe. If you're coming north, be patient. The worker shortage is for real. Good day.